Donald Trump's biggest problem with the ruling this week from Judge Arthur Engoron about him overinflating his assets, Trump's biggest problem, and his son Eric Trump's biggest problem, is that the judge, the prosecutors, they're lying about how much Mar-a-Lago is worth, because both Trump and Eric Trump have come out in social media repeatedly since that ruling came down on Tuesday and said that Mar-a-Lago is worth way more than the judge said. The judge said like $26 million, when in fact they claim Mar-a-Lago is actually worth $1 billion, probably over $1 billion, they're telling us. So, we couldn't have committed bank fraud because we were too busy committing tax fraud in Florida? Because you do understand, Donald and Eric, that that is what you would be admitting to if Mar-a-Lago is in fact worth $1 billion. Because y'all have only been paying property taxes in the state of Florida on $28 million in value for Mar-a-Lago. So here's what's happening. If what Donald Trump and Eric Trump says is true, and Mar-a-Lago is worth $1 billion, then they have been defrauding the state of Florida of tax dollars, property tax dollars, for years and years and years. Here's what I mean. Authorities, tax authorities in the state of Florida issued a value of roughly $28 million towards Mar-a-Lago for the purpose of paying property taxes. They say, listen, this property is worth $28 million. Therefore, you're taxed for property tax at for $28 million of value. That amount, by the way, has only come to, a few $100,000 a year. But Trump, his company, actually challenged that valuation in Florida with the tax authorities. They said, no. We're going to challenge that. We think it's worth much more than that. So, okay, that falls in line with him currently saying, yes, it's worth more than the judge said because we challenged it down here too. But then they withdrew that challenge and said, okay, you know what? Fine. $28 million it is. So withdrawing the challenge contradicts your claim that it's worth $1 billion. Now, Mar-a-Lago is not worth $1 billion. Donald Trump has not committed tax fraud. But the funniest part of all of this is that his defense is actually an admission to another crime. Like, if his defense were accurate. Because if Mar-a-Lago were in fact valued at $1 billion or more, then that means they've only been paying 2.8% of the property taxes that they were supposed to be paying in Florida for God knows how many years. And by withdrawing their challenge, they're telling authorities that, okay, no, it's totally only worth $28 million. So we've got conflicting stories here coming from Donald Trump and his business. Is Mar-a-Lago worth $28 million? Or is it worth $1 billion? Because there's several $1 million in back taxes that you would owe the state of Florida if it's actually worth $1 billion. So you know what? Why don't you keep running your mouth a little bit, Donald? I'm sure that the tax authorities down here in Florida would love to get their hands on millions and millions and millions of dollars because you can't shut up and you want to make yourself look better. But the challenge, the withdrawal of that challenge of the valuation of Mar-a-Lago speaks for itself. You know that property is only worth $28 million. And hey, let's be real, $28 million is a ton of money to people like us. May not be to you, Donald, but that property isn't worth anywhere near $1 billion. And honestly, at this point, you'd better hope that it's not, because then that could implicate you in a pretty significant tax fraud scheme down here in Florida. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.